Pick up the #1 selling ranch dressing in America. Turn the bottle over and read the very first ingredient. It is not buttermilk. It is not any kind of dairy at all. It is soybean oil. The creamy buttermilk ranch on the front of the bottle is, by weight, mostly oil and water, with the buttermilk sitting far down the list, behind the oil, behind the water, behind the sugar. And a few lines further down you will find monosodium glutamate, followed by 2 more lab-made flavor enhancers whose only job is to make a cheap formula taste like the rich, herby dressing the picture promises. Here is the part almost nobody knows. That #1 ranch brand is owned by Clorox, yes, the bleach and cleaning products company, and it is banned from the shelves at Whole Foods for containing ingredients the store classifies as unacceptable in food. I pulled the actual ingredient panels off every major ranch bottle, cross-referenced the ownership, and checked which additives get a product banned from a major grocery chain. 10 ranch dressing brands to skip. 4 that are actually made with real dairy, the way ranch was invented. We go from lower concern to the most serious. One fact to carry through all of it. Real ranch is a simple thing. Cultured buttermilk or sour cream, a little mayo, herbs, garlic, salt. 4 real ingredients and a refrigerator. Everything on the avoid list took that 4-ingredient food and rebuilt it out of oil, water, sugar, gums, and flavor chemicals engineered to survive a year on a warm shelf. Let's get into it. Number 10. Great Value Ranch, Walmart. This is the default. The cheapest bottle in the aisle, bought on price. And at that price, the formula is built entirely around cost. Great Value Ranch is the category's blueprint, stripped to its cheapest form. Soybean oil and water as the base, sugar for palatability, gums for body, and a preservative system to hold it all together on the shelf. The tell is what is missing and what is added. There is very little actual dairy doing structural work. The creaminess comes from oil and emulsifiers, not from buttermilk or sour cream. And because the base ingredients are cheap and flat, the flavor has to be built back in with added salt, sugar, and flavoring, rather than coming from real cultured dairy and fresh herbs. It is stark white, with barely any visible herb specks, which is the visual signature of a ranch built from a flavor system rather than from ingredients. The price is the entire selling point. What you save shows up as everything the bottle is not. Number 9. Kroger Creamy Ranch, store brand. Kroger is the largest traditional supermarket chain in the country, and its store brand ranch carries the quiet trust of a name people shop under every week. That trust is doing work the ingredient list does not earn. Kroger Creamy Ranch is the same story as the Walmart bottle with a different label. Soybean oil base, minimal real dairy, a flavor built from additives rather than from cultured buttermilk. In side-by-side tastings, it comes out almost pure white, with few if any herb specks, and a lack of visible herbs is a reliable warning sign, because it means the herb flavor, if any, is coming from a flavoring system rather than from actual herbs in the bottle. The one genuine point in its favor is that it typically skips high-fructose corn syrup, but no corn syrup is a low bar when the base is still oil and water, dressed up to look like a dairy product. The store name implies someone checked. The panel says the check was for price. Number 8. Wishbone Ranch. Wishbone is one of the oldest names in the dressing aisle, a legacy brand that reads as a trustworthy middle-of-the-road choice. It is owned today by a large packaged foods conglomerate, and the formula is pure industrial category standard. Wishbone Ranch leads with soybean oil and water, carries added sugar, and relies on the familiar stabilizer and preservative stack, including calcium disodium EDTA, a metal-binding preservative added to extend shelf life. EDTA is one of the additives that shows up repeatedly across the avoid list precisely because it is a marker of a product engineered for a long, warm shelf life rather than made from perishable real dairy. The brand's longevity is the selling point. The formula behind it is the same oil and additive base as the store brands, sold at a name brand markup on the strength of a label people have seen their whole lives. Number 7. Ken's Steakhouse Ranch. Ken's earns real loyalty in the dressing aisle. The steakhouse branding signals restaurant quality, and the brand's other dressings have genuine fans. The ranch is where the steakhouse promise thins out. Ken's Ranch is built on the same soybean oil base as the rest of the category, and it runs high on both fat and sodium in service of a rich mouthfeel. The steakhouse positioning implies a kitchen and a chef. The product is a shelf-stable bottled dressing, assembled from oil, water, and a flavor system like everything else on this list. The specific issue with Ken's is the gap between the premium restaurant branding and a formula that, ingredient for ingredient, is not meaningfully different from the mid-tier bottles ranked below it. You are paying a steakhouse markup for supermarket shelf chemistry. The name on the bottle is a restaurant. What is inside it is not. Number 6. Marzetti Ranch. Marzetti positions itself a tier up, often found in the refrigerated section, marketed as the fresher, more premium ranch for the shopper willing to pay more to buy up from the shelf-stable bottles. Some of that positioning is real. Refrigerated dressings can use more perishable ingredients, but the premium impression outruns the panel. Many Marzetti Ranch formulas still lead with soybean oil rather than dairy, still carry added sugar, and still rely on gums and flavor additives to build the body and taste that real cultured dairy would provide on its own. The refrigerated placement and the premium branding create an impression of freshness and quality that the ingredient list only partly supports. This is the trap of the premium tier. A higher price and a nicer shelf position do not automatically mean a cleaner formula. You have to turn the bottle over and confirm that real dairy, not oil and flavoring, is actually doing the work. On many Marzetti SKUs, it is not. Number 5. Kraft Ranch. Kraft Heinz. Kraft is one of the biggest names in the category. The mass-market ranch owned by Kraft Heinz, one of the largest food conglomerates on the planet. It is the default, trusted brand ranch for millions of households, and the formula is the textbook version of everything wrong with the category. Kraft Ranch leads with soybean oil and water, carries added sugar, and uses the full flavor and preservative system, the gums, the phosphates, the flavor enhancers, to simulate a dressing that real cultured dairy and herbs would produce naturally. It ranks above the brands below it because of scale and trust. This is the product the largest number of people reach for believing that a name this established must mean a real, quality product. The panel says otherwise. It is the same oil-based, flavor-engineered formula as the store brands, distributed at national scale behind one of the most trusted names in the grocery store. The trust is the product. The dressing is oil and additives. Number 4. Hidden Valley Ranch Seasoning Packet. This is the one people reach for specifically to do it right. The dry seasoning packet you mix into your own buttermilk and mayonnaise at home, which feels like the homemade from-scratch alternative to the bottled stuff. Here is the catch that lands it at number 4. The packet did not stay the clean herb and spice blend. It started as. When the original Hidden Valley recipe was created in the 1950s, it was dried herbs, dried onion, and dried garlic, mixed into buttermilk and sour cream or mayonnaise. Since then, the packet has been reformulated, and monosodium glutamate is now one of its ingredients, alongside fillers like maltodextrin and modified cornstarch. So the make-it-at-home from a packet route that feels cleaner than the bottle is delivering MSG and starch fillers into a dressing you thought you were making from scratch. You did the extra work of mixing it yourself with real buttermilk, and the packet quietly added the same flavor chemistry and fillers you were trying to avoid. The from-scratch feeling is real. The from-scratch ingredients are not. Number 3. Hidden Valley Fat-Free and Light Ranch. This is the healthier choice, the fat-free and light versions bought by people actively trying to cut calories and eat better. It ranks near the top of the list because it is the clearest example of a health claim that makes the product worse, not better. When you strip the fat out of a dressing, you strip out the thing that carried the flavor and texture, so it has to be replaced. In Hidden Valley's fat-free ranch, the first ingredients include water, buttermilk, corn syrup, and maltodextrin, with the fat-free version running higher in sugar than the original. To make a low-fat product taste acceptable, the manufacturer added sugar and starch. The fat-free version has also been documented to contain artificial color and additional preservatives like sodium benzoate, meaning the healthier bottle carries more sugar and, in some cases, more additives than the full-fat one it is standing next to. This is the health halo trap in its purest form. A shopper trying to make the responsible choice reaches for fat-free and ends up with a more sugar-loaded, more processed product than the original. The word on the front worked against the exact person it was aimed at. Number 2. Hidden Valley Buffalo, Spicy, and Flavored Ranch Line. Hidden Valley has spent recent years expanding ranch out of the salad aisle and into the dipping section. Buffalo Ranch, Spicy Ranch, Pickle Ranch, an ever-growing lineup of flavored bottles engineered in inverted squeeze packaging for dunking chicken, pizza, and fries. This is the fastest-growing corner of the category, and it earns the number 2 spot because it takes the base formula and makes it worse. Every one of these flavored spin-offs starts from the same soybean oil, MSG, and flavor enhancer base as the original, and then adds more. More sugar to balance the heat or the tang, more sodium, more flavoring systems to build the buffalo or pickle or spicy profile that the base ingredients cannot produce on their own. These products are marketed heavily to kids and teens as a fun dipping condiment, which means the demographic consuming the most of it is getting the highest load of added sugar, sodium, and flavor chemistry per serving. It is the original industrial formula, amplified, repackaged for dunking, and pointed directly at the youngest eaters. The friendly flavor names are the packaging. The base is the same thing that got the brand banned from Whole Foods. Number 1. Hidden Valley Original Ranch, Clorox. The number 1 selling ranch dressing in America, and the template every other bottle on this list is copying. It is number 1 not because it is uniquely bad, but because it is the most trusted, most purchased ranch in the country, and the gap between what people believe is in it and what is actually in it is the widest in the category. Read the actual panel. The first ingredient is vegetable oil, soybean and/or canola, not buttermilk. Water is next. Then sugar and salt. The buttermilk that the entire product is named and marketed around sits below all of that. And then comes the flavor machinery. Monosodium glutamate, natural and artificial flavors, phosphoric acid, xanthan gum, disodium phosphate, sorbic acid, calcium disodium EDTA, and disodium inosinate and guanylate, 2 more glutamate-based flavor enhancers that are typically used alongside MSG. To amplify a savory taste, the real ingredients are too diluted to produce. Ask the obvious question: why does a real buttermilk ranch need 3 separate laboratory flavor enhancers to taste like ranch? Because the buttermilk is a minor ingredient, and the flavor is being manufactured. That is the whole story of this bottle. 2 facts seal the number 1 spot. First, Whole Foods bans Hidden Valley Ranch from its shelves, citing ingredients it classifies as unacceptable in food, specifically MSG, sorbic acid, calcium disodium EDTA, and the disodium inosinate and guanylate. An entire national grocery chain looked at this formula and decided not to sell it. Second, the brand is owned by Clorox, the bleach and cleaning products company, which bought the recipe in 1972 and reformulated a simple buttermilk dressing into the shelf-stable, flavor-engineered product that now dominates the aisle. The most trusted ranch in America is mostly oil and water, flavored with the same additives that got it banned from Whole Foods, made by a company best known for bleach. That is number 1. Everything on that list comes down to one substitution: real cultured dairy replaced with soybean oil and water, then flavored back to life with sugar, gums, and glutamate. So the 4 real options all pass one simple test. Turn the bottle over, and the first ingredient is dairy, not oil. Here they are. Best option number 4, Lighthouse Homestyle Ranch. Lighthouse is found in the refrigerated section, not the shelf-stable aisle, and that location is the first signal that matters. A dressing that has to be kept cold is a dressing built around perishable real ingredients rather than one engineered to survive a warm shelf for a year. Lighthouse Homestyle Ranch delivers the tang of real cultured dairy, a genuine sour cream-like bite that the oil-based bottles try and fail to imitate with acids and flavoring. In tastings, its additives are notably less detectable than the generic shelf-stable brands, because the flavor is coming more from actual dairy and less from a flavor system bolted on top. It is a real, accessible upgrade sold in most major grocery stores. The one practical note: refrigerated dressings spoil faster than the shelf-stable bottles because there is nothing engineered into them to prevent it, which is exactly the point. A shorter shelf life is the signature of real food. Best option number 3. Marie's Ranch. Marie's built its reputation on refrigerated, thick, spoonable dressings made to feel closer to something from a kitchen than something from a factory. And in the ranch category, that reputation is earned by leading with real dairy. Marie's refrigerated ranch is built on real buttermilk and sour cream rather than a soybean oil base, which is the single distinction that separates it from almost everything on the avoid list. The texture is the proof. It is genuinely thick and clings to a fork or a vegetable the way a dairy-based dressing does, not the thin, pourable consistency of an emulsified oil and water bottle. It costs more than the shelf-stable brands, and, like every real dairy option here, it lives in the refrigerated case and has to be used within a reasonable window. As always, confirm on the specific variety you buy that real dairy leads the panel. But on Marie's core refrigerated ranch, it does, and that is what you are paying the premium for. Best option number 2. Bolthouse Farms Classic Ranch Yogurt Dressing. Bolthouse earns the number 2 spot by solving 2 problems at once: real dairy and lower calories, in a bottle you can find in most mainstream grocery stores' refrigerated section. Read the panel and the difference is immediate. The first ingredient is buttermilk, cultured non-fat milk and milk, followed by water, then a small amount of soybean oil, then yogurt made from cultured grade A milk and cream. Real cultured dairy leads the formula instead of oil. The brand states no artificial preservatives, flavors, or colors, and because it is built on cultured dairy and yogurt rather than oil, it delivers creamy ranch flavor at around 50 calories per serving, roughly half the calories of the oil-based bottles, achieved by using real dairy instead of a fat-free sugar and starch reformulation. One honest caveat for the label reader: some larger family size or flavored Bolthouse versions add ingredients like carrageenan or yeast extract, so grab the base classic ranch and confirm the panel. On the core product, real buttermilk and yogurt are doing the work. Best option number 1. Homemade ranch, real buttermilk, sour cream and herbs. The best ranch in America is not a bottle. It is the original recipe, and it is the one thing on this entire list that costs less than the industrial versions while containing exactly what you decide to put in it. This is where ranch actually came from, before Clorox, before MSG, before the shelf-stable reformulation, and it takes about 3 minutes to make. The formula is simple: real cultured buttermilk and sour cream as the base, a spoonful of mayonnaise for richness, fresh or dried dill and parsley and chives, garlic, onion, salt, and pepper. That is the complete list, and every item is a food you can picture. No soybean oil standing in for dairy, no sugar propping up a flat base, no MSG, no disodium inosonate or guanylate, no EDTA, no gums, no natural or artificial flavors covering for ingredients that are not there, because the ingredients are actually there. You control the salt, you control the thickness. It tastes like ranch because it is made of the things ranch is supposed to be made of, and it will make the bottled version taste, immediately, like the oil and additive product it is. It has to be kept cold and used within about a week, which, one more time, is the entire point. Real dairy spoils, and that is how you know it is real. If you take one thing from this video, it is this. On ranch, the front of the bottle says creamy buttermilk, and the ingredient panel says soybean oil. The front is marketing. The panel is the product. So turn every bottle over and read one line, the first ingredient. If it says vegetable oil or soybean oil, you are buying oil and water flavored to taste like dairy, no matter how many times the word buttermilk appears on the front. If it says buttermilk, sour cream, or yogurt, you are buying actual ranch. Lighthouse, Marie's, and Bolthouse all pass that test. And a bowl you make yourself passes it best of all. The #1 bottle in America, the one made by the bleach company and banned from Whole Foods, does not. And now you know exactly how to tell in the 1 second it takes to read the first word on the back.